And I tend to think that we are divided on a lot of countries, on a lot of issues. And I think there's some fundamental issues where even if there's some gray, if asked the right way, there are differences on reproductive rights, for example. There are differences on race. And even if there's a shared angst about the economy, there's differences on what to do about it. And I think governing reflects that. That is unrelated from how do the parties then handle those divisions. And I've talked here and I've written a lot that in the last 20, 30 years, there is an asymmetry, a difference in how each party handles those divisions, which I believe are real. And I do think that the argument that Republicans have become much more extreme in their style of governing has a lot of history to back that up. And I think many Republicans are open about that. They're willing to go further. They're willing to dismantle more guardrails. They're willing to risk the ability to govern and the health of institutions in ways which Democrats, as a party that's still the party of FDR and LBJ, still a party committed to governing, won't do. They are checked at that level. And so I think that's the second, more subtle part of the argument that is important in terms of understanding our times. Ultimately, and this gets back to Tricia's question earlier, I am less focused as a historian on asking the question of how do we find a place, not the question's great, but how do we find a place where we come together, as how do we find a place where leaders accept, a majority of leaders accept guardrails to their political fighting and accept the importance and primacy of rules, processes, and institutions to both sides. Because if you preserve it, both sides maintain and protect the playing field, so to speak, to fight out real policy differences that exist in this country. And how do we get there?